give a type of money that can only be spent for a specific number of reasons. And some worry about that state control or whatever. But like in this particular narrow use case, you want to give checks to individuals to get the economy moving again.
Yeah.
So if you think of programmable money that expires if you don't spend it.
For both, I sometimes get painted the way you painted me as a sort of outspoken advocate for a CBDC. My view of CBDC is that there's probably a market for it, right? What's good about a CBDC? It is the one thing out there that has the full faith and credit of the United States government, just like the dollars in my wallet have, right? And there probably is a population that says that's valuable to me because I don't trust private sector entities or whatever. But no, I imagine that at some point there are both private stablecoins and maybe a CBDC appealing to different populations, just the way people today, some people use debit cards, some people use credit cards. There's a lot of payment choices today, and I imagine that
will the U.S. digital dollar eventually replace the cash greenback that we have right now?
Well, it sort of has, right? I mean, it was moving in that direction anyway, not necessarily with crypto assets or cryptocurrencies, but with, Zelle, with Venmo. I mean, again, it's probably, I don't know about you, but, I take cash out of my wallet about once a week now. The pandemic obviously accelerated that. So, yeah, I do think eventually that's going to happen.
Where are we with the U.S. CBDC? Because we're seeing China expand pilots in their largest province, Guangzhou. Even Russia and Iran are exploring their own CBDC projects, so many countries around the world. Where are we in the United States, and where is that headed?
Yeah, we're nowhere. I mean, let me just be honest and tell you, we're nowhere, right? I mean, the president says we should sort of think about it, and inside the Federal Reserve, which is ultimately kind of going to be the entity that probably has the most word on this, I think there's a dispute amongst Federal Reserve governors about whether it's a good idea or not. That's true in the Congress as well. Some people, I want to move forward with it just because I don't want to get left behind by
where are the consequences
by
of
sterling,
that?
Right? But there are other people who are saying, no, that'll crowd out stablecoins, so don't do it. So we're nowhere.
So, I mean, they can go from financial institution with their digital identity and, one KYC AML process, and that's it. I mean, Absolutely. It must be eliminating a lot of costs and fees.
Pushing this initiative because companies like us have been working with various data providers to get access to the DMV data, and Apple's able to go directly, largely because of their name and their power, right? So that's great that they're able to make this more accessible to the customer because, to be honest, it is difficult to use anything in the Web3 world right now because you deal with wallets and keys and things like this, things that most people don't really understand. In our area, we believe that what Apple is doing is good, but at the same time, they're centralizing a lot of this data, right? Now this data can be accessible by Apple and potentially, if they add APIs in the future, to be able to access your information by a third party. Right. The goal, if you look at what Apple always does, is they add these features, they slowly roll them out. So right now they're connecting to a few DMVs in America to be able to push this ID onto your phone. And if that ID is ultimately accessible by TSA, et cetera, it's wonderful, right? It makes things really slick. But at the same time, it's not decentralized. A third party will, in the App Store, will ultimately be able to access that ID, I believe, with your approval, and it just kind of muddies the waters, right? That's my big concern is our belief is as long as you're controlling the ID on your phone and no third party is involved in it, you completely control access to it. Now, with Apple being involved, you don't know what's going to happen, right? There might be a use case where Apple's going to want to dig into that or allow their third parties to. And that's where it really kind of concerns.
Welcome to the Crypto Teacher. And I come back with that video just to make you think.
Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel.
And guys, we know these politicians are paid and bought for. They don't work for the people, they work for the banks and the big corporations. That's the reason why it's called lobbying. All these banks and corporations pay them so they can get into office. But guys, we know that stable coins are the foundation of crypto. And we know these politicians are going to sell the people that they need a CBDC. And then these stable coins will be attached to that CBDC. And the same will go for the emerging markets. They will have stable coins attached to the digital yuan backed by that digital SDR. And remember, the Crypto Teacher told you. And we have digital ID making another push. And we know when they give us a date, that's the date when they start to push it, but not when it becomes effective. Do not forget that. So we had Real ID 2020. That's when they start the push. And we know the World Bank, Bill Gates, all of them are behind this digital ID. Because, guys, if you start moving over to biometrics, all this will be included in your KYC. And when the average person thinks about an ID, there's nothing wrong with a digital ID because they're thinking about their license. But it's so much information that they can start adding the closer we get to the completion of the fourth industrial revolution. And I told you a long time ago that NFT is nothing but a digital ID to get yourself verified in the metaverse. Because while the robots, algorithms, and drones take over the economy, paying each other with crypto, the sheep are going to be going in the metaverse. And remember, the crypto teacher told you because he knows when it comes to the New World Order, it's all planned out. You have a wonderful day.
Tokens is the idea is that you get this SBT. It's a type of NFT that basically stays with you, right? Right now, what people do is they put identities onto wallets, and those wallets tend to be you can transfer them, etc. And many of us carry multiple wallets with us, right? Or carry multiple wallets with us. An SBT basically is one person, one SBT, right? And hands down, that is the definitive person. That's how you define who that person is. Now, with what we do with our gateway passes, we do a similar thing. We attach it to a wallet, but you can't have different identities on different wallets and pretend to be different people, right? It's still tied to one person, which is exactly what SBTs are doing. Now, the difference between SBTs and decentralized identities in general is SBTs are putting all of your credentials on chain, and they keep it in a place on chain, which we find is a little more dangerous than having it off chain and then making it available on chain as needed.
We're going to a different economy, and we're going to be learning more about that as we go. But clearly, we're learning that things can be done from remote locations. We're learning that technology can replace people even more than we thought.
We're not going back to the same economy. We're recovering, but to a different economy, and it'll be one that is more leveraged to technology. And I worry that that is going to make it even more difficult than it was for many workers.
In Silicon Valley, and my friends who work in technology know that what we did to the manufacturing workers, we are now going to do to the retail workers, the call center workers, the fast food workers, the truck drivers, and then even bookkeepers, accountants, insurance agents, lawyers, and on through the economy. So what happened to the manufacturing workers is a very clear sign.
This effort, and China has big plans for this. They intend to seed their digital yuan into the global environment by giving it away to visitors at next winter's Olympics. When they arrive at the airport, they're going to get yuan digital wallets. They're going to receive digital yuan. They're going to use it throughout their visits to Beijing, and then they're going to take it back to their home countries. They see this as a huge advantage. Why? Because who controls the underlying protocols, who controls the underlying standards of the future of money will control the future of money.
Powerful person in the world is the storyteller. The storyteller sets the vision, values, and agenda of an entire generation to come. Steve Jobs. And guys, you know I truly believe in this. When you look at the New World Order, they're the storytellers. And that's the reason why I wrote my New World Order book. But guys, now it's time to change the current generation. And I wrote 3 kids' books. You know I love the Trinity because I understand the power that's in it. So I have 3 books. We have an opportunity to change the generation, to educate, not just me, but I want to show you that I take action on a daily basis. And I want you to take action on a daily basis. Whether it's your job, whether it's in your community, we have an opportunity right now to educate the masses. I posted this on my Twitter account. Please share, but this is a short clip of the 3 books. There's going to be a clothing line and action figures. Please get these books for your kids, nephews, cousins, friends, so therefore we can start the re-education now. Because as we see, the 4th Industrial Revolution foundation is definitely here. robots, algorithms, drones, taking humanity out the picture. We have to re-educate. But let's get into the video.
Part 1. King Joshua and Grandma Tam save the village. Part 2. King Joshua and Grandma Tam save New York from COVID-33. Part 3. King Joshua and Grandma Tam goes to China.
It's mandatory to get part 1, part 2, and part 3 of this series. It's time to re-educate Generation Z.